Welcome back, everyone. Today, prominent business leaders and some lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are publicly rallying around the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell. This follows news that the Department of Justice served grand jury subpoenas to the central bank. For months, President Trump has been critical of Powell specifically.
Meanwhile, Powell pointed to this DOJ investigation as a part of an effort by the Trump administration to potentially pressure the Fed, an independent entity, on monetary policy. Now, joining us today to talk more about the actual impacts of all of these developments on the markets and the economy is Michael Sury. He teaches finance in the McCombs School of Business at the University of Texas at Austin. Professor, thanks so much for joining our show, always providing some expert insight to what's going on in the headlines. We really appreciate it.
Great to be on again. Thank you.
So we saw the markets in the red yesterday. How much of that was attributed to this news about this investigation into the Fed chair? And then what are we seeing now today as we enter the lunch hour?
I think the immediate reaction was a sell-off. We saw a sell-off both in equities. The Dow was off almost 400 points into the opening yesterday, as well as in the bond markets. Now, that was short-lived, so this political drama is going to continue to play on. The market-relevant issue here is less of the headline and more of the precedent that's being set. If investors think that the Fed's decisions can be influenced through political pressure, that undermines the credibility that keeps inflation expectations anchored. So the right approach here really needs to be about due process, clear facts, and protecting the Fed's independence.
And Professor, you touched on it just a second ago, but is there any kind of precedent? Have we seen a situation like this happen in the past and have other effects? You're shaking your head no.
No, it's very unusual in the United States. The Fed has traditionally been very protected and insulated from political pressure. In fact, both the Federal Reserve and traditionally historical administrations have gone to great lengths to try and protect that independence because the Fed's credibility and its trust is what it trades on in the marketplace, and it cannot be seen as bowing to political pressure. We have seen precedents like these in other countries. Think Venezuela or Russia, Zimbabwe. And almost universally, that experiment has not worked out well. In many of those cases, when monetary policy bows to political pressure, inflation gets out of control.
As we mentioned, we've seen a lot of public support for either Powell specifically or the independence of the Fed. How much of an impact do public statements from business leaders or market leaders have to maybe change a situation that starts playing out like this?
I think it's useful. Historically, we've seen that President Trump is a little less affected by those kinds of comments from other people. He sort of trusts his own counsel. However, there are other players here, so Congress may well take note. And we have seen that Powell has a lot of support on his side, whether it's former Fed chairs, former Treasury secretaries from both the Republican and Democratic administrations. The European Central Bank has come out with statements of support, and members of Congress, as you mentioned, from both sides of the aisle have been coming out in support. We heard recently that Tom Tillis, who's on the Senate Banking Committee, has said that he might hold up appointments to the Federal Reserve until this gets cleared up. So I think we have to let this kind of drama play out a little bit, but it's important that we get a lot of transparency from both sides.
Yeah, you mentioned, though, those two different kinds of reactions coming, especially from lawmakers about upholding the independence of the Fed specifically. But does all this even just question that because of the concerns swirling around this right now and the future of the Fed chair?
I think so. So the other question here is, will Powell remain after his term expires? And his term is going to expire this year in a few months, but he may stay on as a Fed governor. Now, that might continue to be a thorn in the side of Trump, who really wants to push interest rates lower. You know, ironically, the president has been pressuring the Fed to lower short-term rates since the start of the second term of this administration. He wants to push rates as low as 1%. But the uncertainty around all of this political theater could in fact have the opposite effect as investors start selling bonds, causing yields to rise and going into more safe haven investments like gold, which in fact has done remarkably well over the past year.
So much to watch. We know that as this continues to play out, it's early in the news of this investigation, and of course, still getting the latest inflation reports from last year, 2025. So much to watch. We could keep you here, I'm sure, forever. Professor Sury, thank you so much for your insight and your expertise. We truly appreciate it.
Thanks, Avery and Will. Nice to be here.